In training now. I'm a newest elder to the Bay Mills Indian community. I got my first Indian check. I'm quite happy.
Indian pay.
Mainly my talk was going to be when we go up on the hill. But we don't have time to do that now, so we're going to have to fill in for a half hour because lunch is served at noon.
Well, we can go up there right after we eat.
Well, yeah, we'll do that after we eat if you don't mind. So a little change of plans, is that all right?
Yeah.
I'll kind of like fill in and tell you what I do.
Talk about repatriation.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
I'm a tribal historic preservation officer. I take the duties as a tribe as the state historic preservation officer. So like any road, any project that is federally funded, they have to get permission to make sure there are no sacred sites that we know of in that area. All road, any federal funding money involved at all. So instead of going through the state now, Bay Mills comes through me. And I do a record search or a visit search or whatever and get the archaeologists involved if I have to. So it's simpler, it's easier, and I get paid through Washington. So as part of my grant that I get through Washington, coming here and talking like this, I can claim you guys on my grant. One of the things before I became a tribal historic preservation officer, I was the history department. They called us archivists, whatever. But we volunteered for 7 years to help Dr. Charles Cleland write the book, The Place of the Pike, Gnoozhekaaning, my sister and I. Well, it ended up, turned into a job. We have thousands of documents that we care for, and it started off trying to collect pictures for the book, which nobody really wanted to help because they didn't trust us. But then after a while, they began to trust us with their photos. Well, now technology, just 5 minutes, boom, it's done. But we now probably have 15,000 photos and probably got 8,000 scanned in, so we're still got quite a ways to go. And we've even had people in their will left us their photo albums, to care for because they were afraid that their photos would be destroyed. So it's quite an honor that our elders are trusting us to do that. So, but the other part of my job is I'm a NAGPRA-MACPRA representative. And NAGPRA is Native American Graves Protection Repatriation Act. And MACPRA is the Michigan Alliance something, repatriation, protection, something. I can't remember what it all stands for. And what that involves is we go to museums, universities, and we bring back our elders who are on museum shelves and bring them back and place them back into Mother Earth as closest to where they were taken from. So, and I'm really glad to say that with the MACPRA, it's all the tribes in Michigan, we get together to fight NAGPRA. Because NAGPRA, they don't want to just deal with one tribe if it's our ancestors. So Michigan, the MACPRA, we all go in together and we do it and we get it done. We kind of like split it all up to different sections of Michigan. And so that's, and like I'm 6 counties in the UP that there's us Sioux tribe and Grand Traverse Bay tribe. We all work together in our areas. We're very close to getting all of our people off the shelf. I'm working right now. I just wrote a grant for the Peabody Museum to go in there over at, not Peabody, Notre Dame, going in to go get some ancestors out of there, hopefully before December 31st. So, but how I got involved in NAGPRA I didn't choose it, it chose me. And I'm going to tell you this story because I don't tell this to anybody because I've never believed in spirits. You know, I was brought up Catholic. They didn't, you know, but I can't deny it anymore. Spirits are here. One day, Wanda and I, we were working, get off at noon to go to lunch. I went home, was eating my sandwich, watching the news, the afternoon news, and it was like this person was coming at me out of the TV, the news, and this face was just getting closer and closer to me, and I was like, what's going on here? You know, did somebody lace my coffee? You know, it's just like, it was like a trip or something, and I don't do drugs. So I was like, oh my God, that's my grandma coming at me. But then it got closer, and then I thought, nope, it's Herman Cameron. But then it got right in front of me, and I didn't recognize him. And I mean, his face was just like that huge right there in front of my face. And he just said, bring us home. And poof, he was gone. Freaked me out. Ran back to work and told my sister Wanda what had happened. And as I ran into my office, which our office was locked up. We always locked, shut the door and locked, and it was just a little, our office when we first opened was 5 feet by 10 feet. That's how small it was. Sitting on my computer, the keyboard was a letter. Sitting there, have no clue how that letter even got in there. And when I was excited and telling my sister and I looked, it was just like, I know whatever was happened just now, that letter had something to do with it. I just knew it. I opened that letter, and it was a letter from the Smithsonian Institute saying that there are 9 people that were taken from Bawating, the burial ground in the Sioux. And that it became a law that they had to tell all the tribes what they have in their storage rooms. I knew that I was to go and try to get these people back. That's how I became involved in NAGPRA. Went to the council, got permission to work on it. I'm not given that permission. I immediately started writing letters. It was going really good. Well, then the director of the Smithsonian quit. I had to start all over again because a new one came in, so I was writing the letters. Got almost through there, and that person got fired. I had to start all over again, and this took 8 years of writing letters. In the process of this, about 6 years in, I started having marital problems. I quit working on it because my personal life was getting involved in the way. So one day, this big face again came to me and said, bring us home now. And poof, it was gone. And it was just like, okay. I went back to work and I started calling and I started making letters complaining that I've been working on this and doing this and doing this. And then it just started going bam, bam, bam. Everything was falling into place. Sioux Tribe at that time became involved in it. And we got permission. We packed up, 2 Sioux Tribe and us. And at the time, I'd worked it out with my ex-husband. That we took off, loaded up. We had cedar boxes made to bring them home. We didn't want to ship them by plane. We were going to drive and bring them back. So we drove out there, no problem at all. That night, after we got in there, we were to go in the next morning. I had a most wonderful dream. And I'm a dreamer, and my older sister that I worked with, she actually named me Ninabakwe. She, strong dreaming woman, she told me, because I was always dreaming and coming back and telling her the stories. She actually bought me a thing to start writing my dreams down. And But anyways, I had a dream that these 9 people came to me, and they came to me in a V. And the head guy in front of me was the guy that came and told me to bring them home. And he goes, "We want to thank you, Paula, for diligently going after and seeking and bringing us home." And I said, "Well, it was my honor." And he says, "We have a gift for you." And I said, "I don't need no gift. This isn't my dream." And he says, "Yes." And he hands me it. And this white eagle feather starts floating down like this. And I catch it. And I look at him and I says, "What is it?" And he said, "It's an eagle feather." And I goes, "But it's pure white. I thought eagle feathers had a brown on it." And with the white tip, he said, "No." He said, "This is, for you." And I said, "Well, thank you." And that was it. I got, when I woke up and I told my husband at the time what the dream I had. So we go in to the Smithsonian the next day, and they wanted to participate with us, and we asked them no. Well, actually, we told them no. You had them long enough. Just let us do our ceremony and get them ready for the journey back home. Now, on the way, driving out to Washington, do you remember when the snipers were out there? That's when we had to go out. We stopped in Gaylord and bought one of those Sirius radios so we could keep tabs on where the snipers were. Because we had no clue, I was scared to death going, I didn't want to get shot. So anyways, we get in there, and the plan was to get in, get them, and get out. So we go in there, and we're performing our ceremony and everything, and I'm packing them up and everything, and we get them all boxed up, and Sioux Tribe says, "Paula, we have a gift for you, that for diligently seeking and not giving up and going after them, to bring these home." And I said, "Okay," but I says, "I don't need a gift." I goes, "It was, an honor to do this for them." And they gave me a pure white eagle feather. And I was like, "Oh my God." And then I told them what had happened, the dream I had the night before. And so I guess it was, it was just meant to be. Okay, so we get them packed up, we're getting out of there, listening to where the last time they were shooting people, and we took this back way around to get onto the highway. So we're going, and all the remains fit in my vehicle. So we had all of them in my car. We're going up the road. We're probably, I don't know, half an hour out, and I'm driving, and my Sioux Tribe call says that, we want to make a stop, pit stop. We said, okay. Next, they don't call them what we call them. Pardon me?
Exit.
Yeah, but where the bathrooms and everything, but theirs aren't like.
Rest area.
Yeah, but there's another name for them out there. I can't remember what it's called. So anyways, we were going to stop at the next rest area. And we get to the one, and we're put the blinker on, and my ex-husband, well, now he's my ex, but he says, "I don't think we should stop here. Something tells me we should just keep going. Go to the next one." I said, okay. So we call the Sioux Tribe on the phone and tell them we're going to go to the next one. So we go to the next one, we go in, get our pops, do our thing, and we get back out in the car. They caught the snipers. They were at the one we were going to turn into and go in. But it was just like the elder said, no, go one more. We would have been there at that same time that they were went and arrested them. So it was just really kind of, awesome, and that it all. But they are now back at Brady Park, what they call Brady Park, with the wrought iron fence around it. So that's part of my job too, is we had to fight to get that back. So they told us we couldn't put them back in there. Said, okay. So we buried them over at Sugar Island at Wilwalk. But I'd promised these people that I would put them back in there. Somehow, someday we'll get you back there. Because that was part of the promise I had made them. So then we had to start a fight because the Corps of Engineers was going to knock all that down. That burial ground was, they were going to turn it into a bandstand. Well, that ended up on my sister and I went to battle for that, which we eventually won. We had to prove that our relatives were buried in there. Well, it just so happened that through the genealogy, we found out that Shingabawasan, this chief over here, is our grandfather 7-8 generations back. His brother was Sasaba, who was the war chief leader here and stormed up the hill and put the British flag in when Lewis Cass arrived here in June of 1820. We know that 2 months after that, he died canoeing, him and his wife and son, out there in the rapids, which we thought was kind of fishy. But anyways, he was buried there at, the graveyard there, burial grounds. So we had proof that he was our grandfather, so he would have been our uncle. So that way the Corps finally gave up. They even donated that wrought iron fence to fence it in. And when we were getting ready the night before the dedication, Sioux Tribe and I went back over to Wilwalk, got those remains, snuck them in there at night because there's a big boulder that we put in there as when they did the measuring, there was a rock out in the river that they measured the 16 square miles that they had taken from us at that time in 1820. So it was all measured off that rock. We put this rock back in as just a memory of that rock. So our ancestors now are in the ground under that big rock. And so I fulfilled their dream of coming home and put them back in there, along with Sioux Tribe and Wanda and I. So that's part of my job. That's what I do. So, is there any questions?